Things that stood out to me about Ryan Poles and what he told the press. He used a phrase, an idiom called do right by. He used that. I used to hear that as a kid. My mom saying that to a relative or to a friend. You know what? I got to do right by you by being able to do this, or we got to do this together. You know what? I missed this occasion, but I got to do right by you. That's the first time I heard it when my mom said it to one of her friends. And I heard Ryan Poles say, we have to do right by Justin Fields. It's not that we're still making our evaluation of the quarterback position, but when you offer the phrase, the old idiom, I got to do right by, that'll be all for Justin Fields. Meaning that I'm going to place him in a position where he can succeed. I'm not going to just dump him off to the side of the road. He's done a lot for us in the Chicago Bears. So I got to do right by him by saying, you know what, when we trade you, that we're going to put you in a position where you could start or you can succeed because of what you've done for the franchise. Do right by is all I needed to know yesterday. You heard the same thing.
I went back and listened to it over and over again yesterday. I was locked in on the station. We had baseball going, and then into Waddle Sylvie, into Black and Abdallah, and I'm all over social media reading, and I'm trying to gobble up everything. And again, Justin is a wonderful athlete. He is a really good person. He's a good football player. He's not a great football player. And the Bears are chasing greatness with the unique opportunity of having the number one pick. And all we have continually said is they're moving on because, A, they evaluate the floor and the ceiling of Caleb Williams to be better long-term than Justin Fields. That does not mean Justin's a boob or a bad player or a bad guy. He's good at all those things. They just don't believe he's going to get them where they want to go. They're going to take that shot with the number one pick. And all of a sudden, Ryan Poles is honest. He's the most honest executive I've dealt with in this town on the record. Off the record, Jim Hendry and Jed Hoyer, Theo Epstein, those guys were super honest. Ryan Pace, not at all. No, he never lied.
Yes.
He just wouldn't engage. Mm-hmm. And I had a good working relationship with him. Wouldn't engage. Certain guys won't. John Paxson, he was. Arturis, I don't even know if he and Eversley live in Chicago. They may be on a remote island somewhere because they do nothing. But what we heard yesterday was a man who treated Justin with class, who said, I'm going to try and do right by him. I don't want him to live in the gray. No one wants that. And I will keep his camp updated on this. So I expect the trade to come down at any time.
Ryan Poles, his motivation to trade Fields before the trade deadline or before free agency.
It just depends on what opportunities pop up. I will say this. I think you guys know me well enough now. If we go down that road, I want to do right by Justin as well. No one wants to live in gray. I know that's uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to be in that situation either. So we'll gather the information. We'll move as quickly as possible. We're not going to be in a rush. And see what presents itself and what's best for the organization. Yeah, so I've always felt, and I told him this after the season when we had our exit meetings, that transparency and communication is key in these moments. And I told him we will do that. So I've been in contact with his team and kind of let them know like what we're looking at, how things might play out, and that we'll continue to communicate as we move forward. Again, I understand how uncomfortable that is for him. But again, like I told him, and he understands, I think he said it the other day too, it's part of this business. It is a unique situation. So, but yeah, I'll continue that communication.
Poles also a listener of the Browns Brothers podcast, apparently, because Poles pretty much quoted from that podcast that we played last week. So he's heard from Justin Fields either through text messages, through his camp, or that podcast of what Justin's thinking. But you don't want to live in the gray. That's the worst, Cap. There's black, there's white. But when you live in the gray is boring. When you live in the gray, that means everything's up in the air. You want to be sure when you're a businessman, when you're a general manager, of exactly the direction that you're going in. And at this point in time, while Justin Fields is on vacation, he doesn't know if he's a Bear, he doesn't know if he's a Steeler or a Falcon, he doesn't know where he's going. So this is why Ryan Poles pretty much told a lot of different outlets, including Wallen and Silva yesterday, that he's going to do right by Justin Fields. And that way that the situation will not be murky anymore, that the Bears are going to move on and go with a rookie quarterback more than likely.
I don't see a scenario where they're not trading him and bringing in a new quarterback. There is no scenario where they're going to keep him and have a rookie quarterback that they take in the top 10. They have 2 top 10 picks. If you told me they're going to draft someone in the 5th round, okay, that's a different story. But that's not what's going on here. They're going to take Caleb Williams. I truly believe that. I know there are people out there thinking they're going to trade down, take J.J. McCarthy, develop him, keep Justin. It's not going to happen. You do not openly stand at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, Indiana, and talk about trading your franchise quarterback, your face of your team, good guy who said, I'd rather stay in Chicago all my career, and go, we're going to do right by him, and I'll keep his team apprised, and blah, 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 blah. And right now I don't have any trade talks that have popped up, but we'll see what comes along. You don't do that and then go, hey, Justin, Ryan, I decided to keep you. What? No, it's not happening. And I think today is his interview with Caleb Williams. Mm-hmm. So that'll be step 1 in their official get to know each other. And then they will meet again when Caleb comes to Chicago. He will be here as part of what's called your 30 visits. You get 30 visits for prospects. He'll be here for a couple of days. They'll have a bunch of different things with him. He'll be on the board whiteboarding with Shane Waldron and the quarterback coach and all of it. And they've tried to put a new infrastructure in. And then you got to go continue to put talent around him.
Longtime broadcaster Joe Madison, who recently passed away, would use this phrase I'd hear on the radio. He'd say that you have to hear with a third ear. And it's one thing that you have your left ear and your right ear, but there's a third ear with this. And here's where I'm going with this. Cap, the one thing that you're sure about from the press conference from Ryan Poles and all the places that he spoke was that Jaylen Johnson is going to be a Chicago Bear.
No doubt.
That was cemented, locked in. When he talks about re-signing Jaylen Johnson, it was not murky. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, I've been very open about that. I have a great relationship with Jaylen, and we've built that trust over a long period of time. I want him here for a long time. So we're in the mix of getting that done now. I feel good about it. We've come strong with our cash flows, guarantees, the term of the contract, and I know all of those things were important to him. As I texted him, I can't give him everything that he wants.
You can't just hand over the contract he wants.
Yeah, but I can do some really cool stuff for him to set him up for life, but also get him in a spot where he can play free, be himself, continue to grow off the season that he had last year. I love the turnovers that he had that changed the outcome of games, and that's important to us. He showed that he can do that. He had leadership. He brought other guys with him. Tyreek Stevenson's growth from the beginning to the end has a lot to do with Jaylen. John Hoke as well, but Jaylen really pulled him aside and did extra with him, so you saw his growth. So I love everything about Jaylen, so I'm hoping we get this done soon. I'd rather not do the whole tag thing.
So Ryan Poles, as clear as day, is saying, oh, yeah, we're going to get Jaylen Johnson. We're going to make sure we lock him in because we know that he's the future of the football team. Now, on the side of Justin Fields, that part of the conversation, murky. That's all you need to know, Cap. It wasn't say when Poles wants someone or wants something, he will directly tell you. It's not kind of a sleight of hand. It's no magic trick. He'll just tell you right out, yeah, you know what? We know that Jaylen Johnson is up, and we want to make sure that he gets taken care of. We've contacted those people, no question. Well, Justin, we want to do right by Justin.
Right.
It wasn't saying, well, Justin's our quarterback. Because usually that's the old Lovie Smith lament. So-and-so is our quarterback. That's where we're going. Poles didn't say that.
He did not.
I like every now and then, maybe a third of our audience on social media will say, well, maybe Poles is a poker player. No, he's pretty direct. It's very direct. You could tell that when it comes to Justin Fields, he's looking to move on. Only because the other things he's talked about, other players he's talked about, he's been direct about. Now, even some of the best general managers wouldn't even talk about Jaylen Johnson. Yeah, we're looking at the position. He's telling you up front, yeah, we want him on the football team. He can't get everything, but we're going to pay him. Not a lot of GMs say that. Not a lot of them are that forthcoming with that kind of information, Cal.
Correct.
Poles is, and that's the difference.
I don't want to use the franchise tag, but he, you could read between the lines. I will if I have to. He ain't going anywhere.
What I'm illustrating to you is the difference between I directly want this guy and we're going to try to do right by Justin.
Right.
Difference.
Like you
different
don't
tone.
say that.
Yeah. Then you kind of know. Shay.
Yes, sir.
What do you think, man?
About the trade?
What do you think of Ryan Poles? There's a difference between how he talked about Jaylen Johnson and how he's talking about Justin Fields.
Clearly, he wants Jaylen Johnson to be here. When you say you got a guy, look, I think he doesn't want to use the tag, like he says. That's disaster scenario generally for a general manager when you have to get a player to play on the franchise tag. But he's committing to a guy. Like, it's clear to me Jaylen Johnson is going to be on this football team going forward, and the goal is long-term.
Yeah, sounds like it to me.
Yeah, the one thing is the tag deadline to use the franchise tag is
March 5th, the next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. So if they don't have a deal done by then he will tag him. Doesn't mean they can't get the deal done 3 days later and take the tag off. It's not a binding thing. So he's going to be a Bear, so everyone can stop wondering about that. And then you're exactly correct. No one openly stands in front of 10 different interviews. I listened to him on Waddle and Sylvie. I watched the press conference and listened to it. We carried it here. Stacey Dales did a great interview with him. And she was like a dog on a bone. To give her a credit. She was awesome.
Yeah.
She just kept going one after another. Well, tell me about Justin with this. What about Justin with that? What about trade talks with that? And Ryan didn't bat an eye. I want to do right by him. He's been good to our, to me, means a lot to me. Like, tell me you're trading him without telling me, yeah, he's definitely gone and we're taking Caleb Williams.
So let's ask this question. Shay, let's open the phone lines. 312-332-ESPN, 332-3776 is our phone number. Did Ryan Poles tell us that he's trading Justin Fields without telling us?